Always a memorable day in the National Hockey League and for the sport of hockey, the Hall of Fame induction. We had the class of 2018 going in yesterday. We kind of set the scene before they got to the event in Toronto, and we said it's always about the speeches. Which speech stood out to you last night, Lots?
For me, it was Marty St. Louis. I think he really touched a chord with a number of different folks, just talking about how you got to persevere and you can't listen to people when they tell you you'll never make it. And I loved the line about when the door closes, look for a window.
Yeah, find a window.
And it really touches home for me, quite frankly, because I know Marty personally. Obviously, he played in Tampa for me. He's a terrific human being. He was never anything but an absolute consummate pro, and that's what I'll always remember about him. He's a class act.
Yeah, well said. Raider, what jumped out at you?
Martin St. Louis to me was the speech. He touched on everything. When he just talked to his mother at the end, he said, this one's for you. So commenting about his, he hit the college days, he hit his days with Tampa, and even commented about Calgary, thanking them for giving him the opportunity, an undrafted player, to come in and step in. And a lot of people would have thought, well, what do you mean? You're thanking them? They quit on you. They didn't want you. No, they gave him the opportunity to get in the NHL as an undrafted player and to show everybody the sample of what he could do and his potential. And a lot of players admit it's not always that first door. That's what he talked about. If the door's not open, look for a window. So that's the type of thing where his window was to go to another organization, and from there he became a Hall of Famer. So that the whole speech and the way he kind of connected the dots with his career, and then having his teammates there from both the Rangers and Tampa there who've come in and they're playing in Buffalo today. I thought that was really neat. So to me, that was nice, and great moments in all the speeches. But I just enjoyed the way he tied everything together.
A little bit of humor from Gary.
Hilarious.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, well delivered on that one too.
Saying
this is
funnier
this is
guy
proof
than
that the Hall of Fame is not a popularity contest. Yeah, it's a much different commissioner that we see sometimes in front of the camera or in front of the arenas versus the one that behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, Gary is a wonderful human being, particularly one-on-one. He's a very caring guy. He's quite funny. He's absolutely witty. It's just hard to display that all the time when you're the commissioner of the National Hockey League, and I was really pleased to see that come out. He has a great sense of humor. He's very humble in terms of himself. People don't always get that. Good for him for getting it in and communicating that to the masses.
Yeah, and you can see how much it means to these guys. Martin Brodeur, who never has looked rattled a day in his life, you could see how kind of nervous he was giving his speech last night at the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto.
Yeah.
I think the point that was, I can't remember who said it. I mean, they've had so many different people talking about different things in the last couple of days. But when it's one thing to talk to a group of guys and a group of players, but when you get someone's talking about when they get on that podium and you look out and you see Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer, and you're like, And a lot of times you hear guys talk about these are guys I grew up with, I grew up idolizing, and now you're actually speaking to them and joining a club that they're already in. I think that's where you see a lot of the nervousness hit a lot of people. I'm not saying that happened last night, but
no, it just comes interesting. Very authentic.
It's interesting the way, yes, and you see a lot of the emotions, and I think that's where a lot of the emotion comes from. It's like that's when it hits us when you seem to be sitting there and you talk to the guys. It's like when you're there and their Hall of Famers are out there and you're speaking, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm now making my Hall of Fame speech. So I thought it was
club in sports.
Yes, extremely well done, top to bottom.
Yeah, it was fun.
Whatever job you have that you aspire to, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a hockey player, but for hockey players, this is the creme de la creme.
Yeah,
this is such a big deal, and not just players, quite frankly. For Gary Bettman, this is a huge deal. For Willie O'Ree, this is a huge deal. For guys in the past like Peter Kamanos, former owners, I've talked to these guys about it. This is something that really sets you on another level. Guys take great pride in it. They don't ever boast about it, but it's a pretty darn good feeling.
Yeah,
and we don't know that, so I hate even talking about it because we're not in this club. But we've been around the game enough to know certainly a lot of players that are, and just the whole stigma of what it really, truly means. It's impressive.
Listen. Yeah, you listen to what the Hall of Famers say.
Yeah.
When I share an office with one. So you listen to what they say, and you ask questions because it's intriguing, and they're humbled. Everybody you talk about, they're humbled by the opportunity to get up and make that speech.
Yeah, it's a wonderful night, and it was well executed last night in Toronto.